What a game. The Raptors lost, unfortunately, to the Phoenix Suns 99-95. Hello and welcome to Raptors Today. I'm Savanna Hamilton alongside Paulo Jones and Sherman Hamilton. Amy Audibert will be joining us a little bit later. Now, NBA's best teams, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, those are all bar measurers in my mind. And so when you play teams like those, you really get a feel for where your team is specifically at. And I think, Jonesy, we saw the Raptors really come out and play, but I want to focus specifically on the fourth quarter. They had a strategy where the Phoenix Suns were fouling the Raptors down the stretch. And, at the end of the day, they won. So was that, a great strategy by Monty Williams? Would you have, could the Raptors have done something differently to combat that?
Well, first of all, to your point, Savannah, to me, the most intense and competitive game I've witnessed all year. It was a terrific game, and it had playoff-like atmosphere. And I thought Monty Williams and the Suns did it right. That's what you're supposed to do. You've got a 3-point lead. Don't let them have a chance to get 3 points. The Raptors ran a play. They fouled Khem Birch. He made 2. The Raptors fouled. Phoenix made their 2. The next time the ball was inbounded to Fred VanVleet, they grabbed them right away. And it's always the issue about fouling. Coaches want to foul, but players executing it properly is the other side of that. I thought Monty Williams, they have obviously worked on it, and they've drilled it, and they've taught it well, because every one of those fouls that was committed, the Raptors never had a look at 3. There was no chance for a vague interpretation of, well, maybe they were shooting, maybe they were on their way up. No. Fred was grabbed in the backcourt. Khem Birch was fouled coming to the ball with his torso facing the sideline. So that is the proper strategy, Savannah. It's not great for the entertainment maybe at the end, although it puts pressure on free throws and maybe frays some nerves. I know you and Amy are going to talk about that later with a guy like Devin Booker, but I mean, that's the strategy, and that's the way to execute it properly. Phoenix just continued to keep the Raptors 1 point behind them by not letting them get a look at the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned it before earlier, like these games really show you where the bar is in the league and how far or close to it you really are, Sherm. So, was this a good example of just how close the Raptors are to kind of competing with anybody, like the top of the league?
Well, yeah, Seven. I think the Raptors have shown that over their win streak that they can compete with anybody. And, the caveat was, and it is for many teams, having health, having your main guys and your roster intact. And what we've seen when the Raptors have their roster intact is that they're very, very, very good. And it's a stark difference to what we saw without key players in the lineup. So I think when we see them playing against a team like the Phoenix Suns, who, as you mentioned, is the cream of the crop in the NBA, you're looking at how do they measure up? Can they compete with a team that plays a different style, has different personnel? How do they match up to a team like that? And I thought they went blow for blow with the Phoenix Suns. And that's a good indicator. And you're still missing guys like Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes in that game. So I just think that they showed that they have the ability, when healthy, and even when they're not 100% healthy, that whoever you roll out in front of them, they're going to be able to compete. And that's a testament to how hard they work. And when Nick Nurse is coaching his team, and because of Nick Nurse's experience of coaching different rosters at different times, he understands that whatever you have, you get 100% of whatever you have. And Nick's been able to do that most of the time. And now that he's gotten a healthier roster, we're seeing those wins come at a higher rate.
Now we're going to hear from head coach Nick Nurse following the game.
Yeah, it was a physical game, Doug. It was kind of slow-paced and grinding, and I thought they were, definitely trying to, just out-physical us, and we hung in there really good. I thought we handled it well and actually played really physical ourselves. And it's could have probably gone either way, really. I think the last shot that they made to kind of take the 3-point lead bounced around the rim a few times and went in, so they got a good bounce there on that, and we didn't probably shoot the ball well enough, and but we played, I think we played as hard as we could play, and we left a few points on the table at the free throw line. That's for sure. That would have probably helped, but really good effort by the guys. Yeah, well, I think again you're just trying to kind of buy some minutes here and there, Josh. And kind of knew it would be a really short start for Utah, and gave Svi a crack at it again. I just was again, just like many nights we kind of keep trying to find that energy plug, and once again it was Justin, right? So we just trying to buy minutes and keep trying guys and see if they can impact the game. Well, I think that I wouldn't say we played great the last couple games, right? But we found a way to win, and that's just kind of the meandering through the league schedule. You're not always going to play that great, and then tonight when you have to play really hard and tough, against a really, really good team, that you can do it. And I think, this last, I don't know how many weeks you want to go back, but I would say 6 maybe. You want to go back 6 weeks or 5 weeks, barring the COVID spell. We played pretty good basketball. Pretty organized, pretty hard, pretty solid. Been in every game, won some good games, all those kind of things. So just continue to build. That's what I take from it. Just continue to build, and should give us some confidence. Well, it's when you're playing against a team that's doing all switching, right? They're just switching everything. There's not going to be a lot of separation like you're used to getting on running a lot of actions, right? So what they're trying to do is keep the ball in front, and you're going to have to make plays in front of it. Those. I thought our guys made some of those. OG shaking down. Those guys shaking down the right matchups and driving into the paint and either scoring or dishing or whatever. That's what ends up being there a lot, and your next best chance is to go get another shot, because those aren't. You're not going to make all those, right? In fact, you're going to probably miss more than you make over the long haul. But if you can collect a few second chances back, that can keep your offense ticking over.
Now, Jonesy, let's look at Chris Boucher's performance in the Suns game. How was he able to use his presence in the paint and up against some, pretty big guys, JaVale McGee, Ayton? What were your takeaways from his game?
Savannah, I've said this for the last little while, the last couple of weeks, since Chris has really kind of come back to playing the way we know he's capable of playing. He's stripped things down. He's gone back to doing what initially made him successful in the league, and that's playing with a lot of energy, really getting after the ball on the offensive glass. 9 offensive rebounds yesterday, and those are all second chance opportunities for the team. Kind of hanging around the basket. Penetration happens, they dump it down to Chris. He's going to get an easy dunk. I thought he got at times captured by the allure of being on the perimeter and making threes. Not that he can't do that, but he seemed to want to continue to prove that he could do that. And he's left some of that behind now. I'm not saying he's not taking threes, because he will take the odd one when he's open, but it just isn't the main focus for him. And his energy and aggressiveness off the bench, the way he's playing on the offensive end. He had a block last night on Chris Paul. Like I said, he leads the NBA in that made up category that I have of a guy blocking a three when the defender least expects it. Chris Paul thought he was open for that three. Many guys do. And Chris closes with that length and quickness and gets a piece of it. So this is all part and parcel of the energy that he brings off the bench. He stripped his game down. And look, don't let the slight frame fool you. It's the effectiveness. Sherm was talking about Fred yesterday, that, he's not 7 feet. But his heart is 7 feet. He plays like 7 feet. And that's an adage that I've always, adhered to. It's not how big you are, it's how big you play. And Chris Boucher has been playing really, really, really well lately, and playing big for the Raptors.
Yeah, exactly. 9 offensive rebounds, but 16 rebounds in the game, and on top of 13 points. So he was having, quite the contributions last night.
Happy birthday, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Chris.
29. Sure, we have to give some credit to Justin Champagnie, because he was a spark off the bench. And, I watched him just the other day. I was reporting 905 game, and he had a lot of minutes there as well. So, he played there. And when your other guys like Spee and Utah, they weren't having the best game, didn't have it going that night, how important was Champagnie to match up and come in and bring that spark off the bench?
Oh, it was big. I mean, I thought his 10 minutes were very significant. And we've seen this from Justin, his ability to be involved, the ability to be around the basketball, on the glass, catch and finish and just make plays. And, I've been really impressed with his ability to, in a condensed amount of time, have such significant impact. I mean, 5 rebounds in those 10 minutes. Those were crucial plays, and they created second chance opportunities. And this was clearly an area that the Raptors felt that they could expose of the Phoenix Suns. So his directive is simple when he gets into the game: defend, rebound. When he gets his opportunity to score the basketball. But everything has to be done at maximum effort for him because his minutes are so limited. And he's one of those players that I feel does a great job at taking advantage of whatever he's given. And that was another example against Phoenix. And we're talking about a game with rhythm. And you're not the first or second option coming off the bench. You're pretty much the last guy that Nick is saying, all right, give me something here. I'm not getting it from other guys. And he provided some punch. So I really, really like what he brings, not just in that Phoenix game, but over his time as a Raptor, he's really had impact whenever he's hit the floor. And that's a testament to being professional, to working hard, and always being able to fulfill your role, which is difficult when you're not getting a lot of minutes.
Champagnie is knocking at the door in the rotation. So now we're going to throw it over to the players following the Suns game to hear what they had to say.
You just got to appreciate the fight, be proud of the fight. That was a really intense, tough game. It's probably as good as it gets without a crowd in there. They certainly raised the level. That's the reason why they have the best record in the NBA is because they play that way every night. And, I thought that we answered the call. I thought that, it was a good test for us. Obviously, we didn't come out with the victory, but you appreciate the fight. There's a lot of things you could have cleaned up. Didn't shoot the 3 well enough, left 10 free throws on the board. But force that team into 20 turnovers, you get 22 offensive rebounds, that sounds like a good night. Again, just probably ran out of juice there on some of the shots, just not falling there late. I mean, not exactly. I think it just gives you more shots. We have 15 more attempts in them. So, in theory, you would hope that would give you more than one more make. They had 35 makes, we had 36. But, again, give them credit. They're one of the best teams in the league for a reason. And they closed us out there at the end. But I thought we had a good fight. It just speaks to the aggressiveness and the compete level that we were able to go get 22 of them. And we missed a lot of shots. That helps to get offensive rebounds too. I'm so proud of Just, man. He's been balling every time he gets in there. He just has a great spirit and energy. He has a real talent for rebounding the basketball. He had a big steal on Chris Paul. I don't know if I think he had a tip in. So he's one of those guys you can plug in and play. I'm sure that, he keeps this up. He'll be earning some more minutes down the line, but you got to be happy with his compete level. Yeah, I think those are the things that make you last in the league because the shots come and go, as we know, especially for a young player. But if you can make all those other plays, that just gives you on the floor opportunity. We have a lot of talent. We're a pretty top-heavy team, so we need some of those other guys that can knock down a corner 3, offensive rebound, guard your guy, do all the right things, and Justin is one of those guys. So, we've all been on him. We're all happy about the way he's been playing. He's got to continue to grow and get better.
Whatever I can do to help the team, I'm at this point where I just want to go over there and play hard, and that's what the team needs. And it's a lot easier when you kind of know what you have to do. And I go into the game thinking the same way. And a lot of people have been seeing. I've been posting Dennis Rodman every day. That's who I study the most. I'm trying to see what it is, what I could do. I feel like I have the same energy as when he played, and I kind of relate to him a lot. So with the ups and downs and all, so we're at this point now where I'm just playing like him and trying to bring energy, everything that demands effort, whatever. That's what I'm trying to do now. We didn't have Scotty, we didn't have Gary. Those are 2 good big pieces for us. But we hang in there. We didn't shoot the ball well. There's a lot of things that didn't go our way, but we still figured out a way to stay in the game, and that's just gonna give us confidence. Like I said, we need to play like that against everybody, not against just a good team. If we play like that against the bad teams and all that, we're gonna be a good team. So we just gotta play like that every time, and we definitely learned something about us. We just gotta keep playing hard, and it's a 48-minute game, so those letdown kind of hurt at the end, but we're going to learn from it.
Now we're going to head over to Amy Audibert.
Thanks so much, Sav. As you already mentioned, there were some very good moments and great plays against Phoenix earlier this week, but maybe the MVP, the star of the night, was the Raptor, because with 6.5 seconds left in a 1-point game in the fourth quarter, Devin Booker at the free throw line had to say to the official, hey, get that guy out of here. That's right. One fan on the baseline distracted the shooter. This may have been the most entertaining point of a great basketball game of the entire night. I myself was smiling and laughing out loud watching the game. Devin Booker, even after the game, said that, hey, they hashed it out. They're homies, him and the mascot. While he was complaining, he started smiling because, come on, there's no fans. I absolutely can't wait until Devin is back in Scotiabank with fans. That probably won't be until next season, but we know these Raptor fans will not forget that moment. While the first returns came out for the All-Star voting, and it was great to see a Raptor amongst the guards, unfortunately, it was in 10th place. Our Fred VanVleet, who has been absolutely incredible, needs us and all of you out there, the fans, that's right, to get out and vote for him. He is averaging 22 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists on a team that is in the playoffs contention right now. And so again, this is on the fans to get out and push. You all do have 50% of the vote. And when you look at the standings that came out, Kyrie Irving, who's played 1 game for the Nets, Derrick Rose for the Knicks, those guys are all the way up because New York definitely has some numbers. But again, voting closes on January 22nd. So if you don't know how to vote, just go to NBA.com. There are a bunch of ways to do it. Again, the fans' voice, it matters. 50% of the vote. And we've got to show our continued support for Fred and what he's meant to the Toronto Raptors this season. The Raptors 905 remain undefeated. It was a very close call. They hosted the Long Island Nets earlier this week, and it was a pretty tight game, especially late in that fourth quarter. Saw a lot of free throws going up, but it was Isaac Bonga who in transition did nothing but run the lane and spot it up. He was fairly contested, but he had his feet under him. He hit a huge go-ahead bucket late. It was a 3, and it was really a solid game for Bonga. 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. How about 4 for 6 from long range? And when you are on assignment, this is what you have to do. You are the guy. You are one of the leaders that has to push the game, and that's exactly what Isaac did. So congrats to him.
We're going to look ahead to the Raptors' next matchup. That is the Detroit Pistons, and we know that Dwayne Casey has a little something against the Raptors. Don't you say, Jonesy? I don't know what gives, but he always has a little extra spark when he plays the Raptors. I don't know if he still knows the playbook or something.
It's the juice that his team gives, Savannah. And I first heard it said by former Raptor coach Butch Carter when he coached against his former team and there was a big win. And he kind of smiled and he said, you know, it's always personal when it's your former team. And that goes for players as well. And don't think that Dwayne Casey's team, as it's presently constituted, doesn't know where Dwayne Casey was. And they got him in Detroit because he was let go as the coach of the year in Toronto. There's always a little bit of extra juice there. And, you know, whether that comes through in practices, in pregame discussions, in players talking amongst themselves, you're right. It just seems like they have a little bit more. They find a little bit more when they play the Raptors. And, you know, it's also a measure of the respect that the players hold for the coach. They know, although we all know Dwayne Casey, he may not say anything about it, but they know that this means something to him, even though he may not say anything, and they go out and they perform accordingly. So I just think there's always a little extra jump, a little extra juice when it's your former team. And, you know, if it was a situation where Toronto was coming back to Scotiabank Arena, it may be heightened even more. I mean, Toronto's going to Detroit for this matchup, and think about it. If not for COVID, there'd be a lot of Raptor fans streaming across the border to be in that building and would jack it up and juice things up even more. So I think the guys they just want it for Dwayne sometimes, Savannah. And that's the way I look at it.
I mean, it's been quite some years now. You think it'd be water under the bridge?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You see an X, it doesn't matter how many years later, does it?
I mean, there's a thing called moving on by Sherm. The Detroit Pistons, they brought in 7'2" Bol. You know, what are your expectations from Bol in Detroit, and how interesting of a player is he with his stature, 7'2"? That's big.
Yeah, the young man to me is very, very impressive with his skill set. I mean, this is a second-round pick in 2019 by the Miami Heat. You know, the Miami Heat know how to draft talent and trade it to Denver. But, you know, at 7'2", this is a guy who can shoot the three. He can handle the basketball. It seems like the ball takes 3 days to get back to his hand after he dribbles it. But he's got this fluidity to his game that you never really see with a 7-foot-plus person. And, you know, you think back to his father, Manute Bol, when he was playing for the Golden State Warriors, he was jacking threes himself. He was out on the perimeter shooting the basketball at 7 feet plus. So his son can do the same thing. But his son, to me, is the improvement of his father, because his son can handle the basketball. And I think in Denver, you know, Coach Mike Malone, he has a team that was playing a certain way and that had certain expectations. Obviously, without Jamal Murray, it changes, and the injuries that they've had to Michael Porter as well. But you think about the fact that he wasn't getting an opportunity to play there. Well, you're coming to a team in Detroit that their goals are a bit different. I mean, at this juncture of the season, they've got to continue to develop talent, continue to manufacture the idea of working hard and staying professional in a losing environment. So there might be more opportunities for Bol, but I think it's going to be great if he gets the minutes to see what this young man can do. I mean, he's only 22 years of age, so he's very, very young and has a lot of road ahead of him. But I like his skill set, and he kind of becomes the cult favorite, the fan favorite when he hits the floor in terms of his size. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does against Detroit, even if he suits up against the Raptors on Friday.
Yeah, and if the work ethic's there, then that's more than enough that what Dwayne Casey could do with him as well. So we'll see how he contributes to the game. But you could watch the next matchup Friday, January 14th versus Detroit at 7 p.m. You can watch it on TSN and listen to it on TSN 1050. To everyone who's watching, thank you for watching Raptors today. From Savanna Hamilton, Paulo Jones, Sherman Hamilton, Amy Audibert, and of course, our crew behind the scenes, Jake LaRue, Evan, and Garth.